screens, friend, you might notice that this puzzle kind of looks like an umbrella. Like you hold the handle here, and this is the outer part of the umbrella, this is the top. So a parasol is a type of light umbrella you use to keep yourself cool in the shade. And that's the name of this puzzle. I'm not giving you one, but two amazing tricks that'll help you solve this difficult puzzle. The second one is the most important, and it's some clever logic that is going to make you love this puzzle. So gotta pay attention. Also, I'm going to give some more fun facts about my Friday featured setter, the TheTeaRex. Click below if you want to give this puzzle a go. And with that, it's solving time. Okay, if you're trying to make some progress in this puzzle, you might go across with this 4 right here and say, all right, I got 2 spots for 4. And this ends up being basically a claiming pair of 4s. You can't have a 4 anywhere else along column 5. A claiming pair, it's also like a pointing pair. And then if you went over and saw these 5s and these 5s, you could solve for a 5 right here. So that you get 1 digit in, you feel pretty good. Getting the next digit, it's a little bit trickier. You might notice with the 2s, you got a 2 cutting across here. So the 2s are limited to these 2 spots. And in case you're wondering, this is called Snyder notation with the 2s. Anytime in a 3x3 block, you only have 2 possibilities for can. You mark it in case you solve one of those. You can get the other one right away. It also gives you a clue some more advanced solving, which is what I'm going to give you right here. Because you see these 2s puts the 2s in columns 7 and 9 here in block 6. And since the 2s are in column 7 and 9 up here in block 3 as well, that means the 2s are either going to be here and here or here and here for these 2 blocks, which now limits these 2s to these 2 cells here in block 9. So this is a claiming pair. Since the 2s have to be somewhere in column 8 and they can only be in block 9, they got to be in one of these 2 spots. So you might want to notice that. And if you're really good, then you look across here, across row 8, and go, hey, where can a 4 and a 5 be? Can't be here because of this 4 and a 5. Can't be here because of this 5 and this pointing pair 4s. And it can't be here because of this 4 and 5. So the 4 and 5 are limited to these 2 cells here in row 8. And that makes them a hidden pair. You're like, what's a hidden pair? Well, when the same two candidates are limited to the same 2 cells in a house, which is the Sudoku row, column, or block, then that makes them a hidden pair. It means they're the only 2 possibilities for these 2 cells. You can eliminate any other possibility for those. And then what it'll give us here is now a 1, a 3, and a 6. So 1, 3, 6. And that's a 3. And then you already have the 6 right here. So that's a 1, 3. Okay, so you might notice that, and I'll get rid of those colors. And then you might notice here with this 8 coming up that you have a pointing pair of 8s right there, okay? And that will come into play a little bit later. After that, you can do some little more Snyder notation. You're not going to get very far. What you have to look at is notice this 1, 2, and 3 right here, okay? Look at those, and then kind of notice that it really restricts row 1. And so you got the 1, 2, and 3 here. So you wonder, well, could I put this 1, 2, and 3 right there as a naked triple? So I put a 1, 2, and 3 right there as a naked triple. Then, I know they could, neither one of those candidates can be there, neither of the 3. That would put a 9 right here. Like, okay, that seems all right. However, you also have to consider what goes on here in column 1. Because you also have a 1, 2, and 3 right here. And if I have a 1, 2, and 3 right there, that means 1, 2, and 3 cannot be in those 2 squares. Can't be in these 2 squares because of this 1, 2, and 3. So you could have a 1, 2, or 3 down here, but what you'll notice is that there's only 2 possibilities for those 3 candidates of the 1, 2, and 3. That's impossible. That won't work, right? Because we need 3 cells for this 1, 2, and 3. So this is a Sudoku Firework. All right, it's a firework, and it tells us that the 1, 2, and 3 can't be in these 3 cells because you don't have enough places in column 1. And so what we can do from that is we can deduct so many things here. First of all, we know now that you have to have one of the 1, 2, or 3 right there. Right? You have to have it there because we just proved it can't be in these 3 squares. Okay, what else can we do? Well, the same logic here is because of this 1, 2, and 3, you can't put the 1, 2, and 3 in these 3 cells, right? And leave this as a 9. Because if you did, you have a 1, 2, and 3 here, one of the 1, 2, and 3 there, but then where would you put the third one? You can't have anywhere to put it because in those 2 cells, it can't be anywhere else in that block. So we know that we have to have one of the 1, 2, and 3 down here. Okay? Third thing we can deduce because of this firework is that this actually has to be a 1, 2, or 3. And when you're like, well, why is that, Timberlake? Well, because let's say, you put the 1, 2, and 3 here, and you put the other 2 digits right there. Well, now you'd only have one possibility to put a 1, 2, and 3 here. You could put it here or here. If you're not going to put it in that cell, you can put it here or here. Well, then, but you only have then 1, 2, and then you want to have the third possibility. So we know the 1, 2, 3's got to be right here. All right. Okay, the next thing you got to figure out is that you can't have a 1, 2, or 3 right there. And like, well, why not? Let's say you put the 1, 3 here because it can't be a 2. You put a 1, 3 here, and then you put a 1, 3, 1, 2, 3 here, then only one other possibility can be in these 4 squares. And either you have a, like a 1, 2, 3 here, and you would satisfy column 1, but then because these 3 cells are taken, you wouldn't have anywhere for that third 1, 2, or 3 across row 1. So that's why we know 1, 2, or 3 can't be in these 2 squares. So much that firework gives you, and in this puzzle, it's really, really important. So we know then that this can only be a 6, 7, 9, and then this can only be an 8, 9. And then the last bit is that these 3 cells have to be different candidates. You're like, well, why is that? Because if you put a 1 here and you made these 2s, where would you put a 2 in block 1? It wouldn't go anywhere because this 2 means it couldn't be here, and this 2, it couldn't be here. So you know that this would have to be a 3 and make it different. Yay, there's your 3 in the corner. But same thing, if you put a 2 there and a 1, you still have the same problem. This is a 2, that's a 1, that's a 3. Since this one sees both of them, these 2 can't be the same. You have to have 3 different candidates here. All that is very important to figure out. So we've made a lot of progress here. So that's the first amazing trick. Now, before I get on to that second trick that you gotta figure out to be able to solve one cell in this puzzle, I do want to reveal my last fun fact about the T-Rex. I asked him, who helped you with your testing and your ideas? And what the T-Rex says is he doesn't really get help with the ideas, but he does get inspired. Sometimes he's solving someone else's puzzle and he gets inspired while he's in the middle of it. He'll spot something that's cool, and even though it doesn't do anything for that current puzzle, he'll try to apply it to one of his own puzzles. And then for testing, he does get help from the CTC Discord server, which I hear a lot, and the Sudoku Cult server. So he's got some friends that help him with his puzzles, and it's kind of like this iron sharpening iron thing. Awesome. I love to hear about that, where people get inspired and who helps them. All right, this is what the T-Rex put and inspired in this puzzle. Normally, when you get a firework, usually the puzzle unravels, but you got to figure out what's one last step. We want to look at the similarities here in block 7 and block 3. You might notice both of them have a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in them, so they can only be a 1, 2, 3, or 9. All right, this can't be 2, this can't be a 9, and this can't be a 1 or a 3. And here, 1, 2, 3, or 9, you know, this can't be a 2, and this can't be a 1 or 3. So here's the logic. You want to ask yourself, these 4 squares here, and I'll color them red, you have to have a 9 in one of these. And let's figure that out. Does there have to be a 9 in one of these squares, in one of these cells? If there wasn't a 9 here, this would be a 1, 3. This would be a 2, which make that a 1, 3. And then now the 2s would be a pointing pair down here. So this couldn't be a 2. That'd be a 1, 3. And this would make this a 9. Because you'd have this 1, 3 pair right there. So if this was no 9 here, you got to have a 9 right there. Does it work in reverse? If we took out the 9 from right here. This would be a 1, 3. Makes this a 2. Takes out the 2 right there. Makes the 2s a pointing pair. Can't have a 2 here. And you'll notice, yep, sure enough, this has to be a 9. This is awesome. Lovely, clever. I'm just amazed when I saw this. What we're saying is then a 9 has to be one of these red squares. And since a 9 has to be one of these red squares, any cell they all see, you can eliminate a 9. We can eliminate a 9 from right here. This could never be a 9 because then you'd break the puzzle. Beautiful. This is the second amazing trick. Now, can we make more progress and solve here? Can we solve a second cell? And we can solve a second cell for sure. You know, this is now an 8. And with these two 8s and this pointing pair of 8s, you solve an 8 right here. And then look at what can be in this cell. Well, it can't be a 1, 2, or 3. It can't be a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. This has to be a 4 now. And now we can displace the Snyder mark, as I call it, and solve for a 4 right there. All right. After solving for the 4 right there, let's look across row 4 here. Looks like we need a 2, 3, or 6. Well, I got a 2 and a 6 here. Makes this a 3. Okay. And then that would make this a 1 or an 8. Well, I got a 1 right there. So here's a 1, displacing that Snyder 8. Makes this a 2, 6. So we're making some progress here. All right, let's look now after row 4. Let's look at block 5 now. We just solved this 3. So now that's a 1, 6. That's a 1, 6. This has to be a 3 now. Awesome. So we can solve that for a 3. Looking good. And now these 1s are a pointing pair. You might notice the 1s can only be in row 9 here in block 7. So that means the 1s can't be anywhere else along row 9. Well, with these two 1s and this pointing pair of 1s, there's only one place left for a 1 in block 8. So that's a 1 now, and that's a 6. Since that's a 6, this is a 2, this is a 6, and now this 2 is going to make this a 2, and that a 9. Okay, cool. And I can tell you right away, since the 9's here, we already proved with all this logic that this has got to be your 9. But let's just show it anyway. So that's a 2. So make this a pointing pair of 2s. So guess what? That's a 1. That's a 9, and that's a 2. Awesome. Amazing. This is good stuff. All right, with these 9s and this 9, we can solve a 9 right here. And we're moving on with this puzzle. With these two 9s and this 9, we can solve for a 9 right here. Looking good. All right, we can get rid of that 9 there. And with these two 9s, now we know this has got to be a 9, displacing that Snyder 2. Okay. And with this 1, this is going to be a 3. And we saw this is our 3 in the corner. This is 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Love it. All right. What's left here in column 1? That's got to be a 6. And all we have left is a 7 and 9. I got a 9 here. So here's your 7, here's your 9. Looking good, looking good. We need, it's like a 3, 7 across here. Okay. And then because of this 1 can't be there, this has got to be a 1, and which makes this now an 8. Awesome. And then with this 2, this places this Snyder 2. Now we can solve for 2 right there. Looking good. Okay, let's keep pressing on here. Because of this 1, 3, now we know this has got to be 5 or 6. I got my 6 here. So here's your 6, and here's your 5. Great. And now looks like we need 6, 7 here, and a 6, 7 here. Well, I got my 6, so let's do that 7, that 6, that's a 7, and that's 6. Sweet. All right, what can we do next? Well, we have a full house right here. So let's get into that full house and solve that for our 1. Like we need a 4 and an 8. I got my 8 there. So here's your 8, here's your 4. Looking good, looking good. And now, what do we have here? These two squares. We're missing a 3, and we can solve it for the 3 right there, which means this has to be your 7. Awesome. And the only place left for 7 block 9s right there, which helps us disambiguate the 3, 7 here and the 1, 3 here. Awesome. And now looking for 4, 5. I got my 5. So here's your 4. Here's your 5. There's your 4 for that hidden pair. All right. Because I got these two ones. This has got to be your 1. And we can finish block 9 now with a 5. Come up here. And it looks like we're missing an 8 and a 9. Well, I got my 9 there. So here's your 8 and here's your 9. You want to learn more about fireworks? Check out this video. I want to thank the TheTeaRex for being my Friday featured setter. I found all 4 of these puzzles challenging and fun. If you want to support this channel, please consider supporting me through my Buy Me a Coffee page. There's a link in the description below. And thank you so much for watching.